Welcome to ProFile, and in this session we'll be talking about preparing a basic T3 return using the ProFile T3 module. So let's get started. So in this example, we're going to use a trust that receives dividend income and then distributes that income to its beneficiaries. As with other profile modules, you start by entering the trust's general information on the information page. So you'd have to fill in the sections like the name and address, putting in the trust account number, name of trust, title of the trustee, name of the trustee, mailing address. So any information that you can apply within the section you can. Usually it will be in black text. Same with the residency. There's a drop down for the province of resident at the end of the year. You can select that. Was the trust resident in Canada through the year? Yes or no. Did the trust leave Canada during the year? So anything that again is in black text, you can apply that information in. In the type of trust section, you can answer whether it's a testamentary trust or an inter vivas trust. And if you indicate it's a testamentary trust, then there's a drop down that you can select for the type of testamentary. And there's also one for type of inter vivas trust, which is the line 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line down. And you can do the drop down and select the appropriate type of trust for inter vivas. Fill in any information that's necessary, again in black text. You can enter that information in. For the filing section, you have the taxation year, which is indicated here. And then there's the question, is this first year of filing a T3, yes or no? And then again, any information necessary, apply that in. Last section is the office use. You're going to have prepare ID and some other information that you can apply within that section. So just fill in the necessary information just to get started with your T3 trust return. Next up you want to take is go to the T3 jacket and click all the applicable checkboxes within the section that's shown here. Let me bring up ProFile and I'll show you exactly where that section is. So when you go to the T3, you have all these sections here that will be filled in. It will import from your information page, but there are some questions here such as the deemed resident, the reporting foreign income and property. You may have to answer those in case those are applicable, but the section that I did mention in the slide there is this section here, other required information. So yes or no, put in a date if you have to answer the question number 5 there. Again, number 12 has a year, month, and you just have to answer yes or no. A lot of these informations in the blue text are being calculated by ProFile, so you wouldn't have to worry about those, and it will be calculated accordingly. So that's where you get started. For the next step is making sure you answer these questions here that are other required information, and that is on the T3 jacket. So the next step is getting to the Form Explorer under the Go-To menu, or you can just press F4 for the function key, and that will bring you to the Form Explorer. Do a search for T5 income, and that will bring up the T5 income form. You want to fill in the information such as the description, currency, exchange rate, actual amount of eligible dividends, interest from Canadian sources, Canadian gains dividends. So any information that you have that you can apply to the slip, then go ahead and do that. You have multiple slips available that you can fill in here under the T5 income. There's an important note here that you need to enter any applicable trust expenses so that they are totaled on the return. The expenses have to be applied to specific types of income before the income can be allocated to the beneficiary. So you may have to apply these expenses manually. Usually an audit message will appear if you have not entered these expenses. You want to be able to allocate the income to the beneficiaries, and you can do that on the allocation form. If you go to the Form Explorer under the Go To menu or press F4, do a search for allocation, and you'll be able to get to the allocation form. This is where you would allocate the income and expenses to your beneficiary. You have the option on how you want to indicate or wish that income to be allocated to the beneficiaries, because ProFile by default will equally share or allocate the income equally amongst the beneficiaries. So if that isn't the case, you have the ability to choose or change that under the options for allocating income. If you click on the drop down, it will give you other options, whether it's percentage, whether it's a fixed amount, and you can choose that and allocate the amount of share of income to your beneficiaries. Now, to retain some of the income to be taxed in the trust, you can specify which type of income and how much is to be retained by the trust by indicating under the income to be fully retained, non-income, capital, or all. Now, just to let you know, there's been an update with the form itself, and that income to be fully retained is no longer available, but you still have the drop down for the options for allocating income to beneficiaries. I'm going to bring up ProFile here and show you exactly what I mean. So you still have the drop down available, share equally, percentage, and putting that percentage on a beneficiary worksheet, allocation for fixed amounts or percentage. And if you choose any of these, you can apply the amount or the percentage on a beneficiary worksheet. So let me select beneficiary worksheet here, and when I go to the beneficiary worksheet, I can see that I can put a fraction, I can put a percentage in here. And also you have the option to automatically allocate expenses, and that's available here to be checked. Okay, so there's been a change, and if you are allocating according to a fixed amount and you select that on the allocation form under the beneficiary worksheet, you'll see a section available for you to put the fixed amount for the allocation of income. Another important note here is to enter specific amounts for certain boxes of the T3 slips that are not automatically completed by ProFile T3, and this would be on the allocation form. For example, details related to foreign income and tax paid would be entered here, meaning the allocation form. So you filled in your information, whether on the information page or the T3 jacket. You've filled in all the appropriate information. You've allocated or indicated the allocation of amounts, whether it's a percentage, fixed amount, or equal amount amongst your beneficiaries. You filled in your beneficiary form with the necessary information. You're ready to finally go to the T3 slip, and you'll see that ProFile prepares the T3s to be distributed to those beneficiaries of that trust. The steps for internet filing T3 returns are similar to the method discussed in the FX segment of this course. Review those steps for further details. I've also included the link to the article Filing T3 Returns in the next lecture, so look out for that.